Welcome to the Stimac Podcast. Stimac is a Haiti-focused think tank and interventional NGO. Thank you for listening.
All right. Well, welcome to the Stimac Podcast, 43 Days to Freedom series. We have a very special guest today. Stephanie Dufault has joined us. Thank you for joining us. Those of you who have been listening to the podcast have heard me mention Stephanie many, many times. And so I'm excited to peel her away from her busy life for a little bit to come hang out with us. Stephanie, good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for inviting me.
You got it. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry, go ahead. I
Hi,
cut you off.
everyone. Hi, everyone. I want to first of all thank everyone who prayed for Jeff. All the prayers that went to Jeff went directly to me too, because Jeff was sent from God to me.
You're too kind. Thank you, Steph. Oh gosh, man, you just made that heavy fast. So as all of you know, Stephanie's been a big part of my experience in Haiti. And of course, she and I have unfortunately shared some harrowing moments and of course became, like I've mentioned, like family very quickly. Are you okay if we maybe go back to day one and maybe tell people about your experience on day one? Because yours is a little bit different from mine, and I think it's interesting.
Well, I'm not detailed as you because I don't remember as day one, day two. I'm just remember like the big events.
Yeah.
Well, I was kidnapped the same day as Jeff. It was April 12th. It was also my daughter's birthday that day.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was kidnapped from back from work. I was going home with 4 colleagues it was peak hour, around 4:35, yes, near a police station actually. But my story is different from Jeff. I was pointed out, meaning that someone gave me up. In Haiti, because of the color of my skin, I'm considered as a rich person. So someone gave me up.
Yeah, I remember us learning, it's probably pretty early on, from the kidnappers that you had been targeted.
Yeah, actually the kidnappers told me that because I had no idea. You know me, but I'm a people person. So I get along with everyone, even with those people I got along with. I couldn't believe that someone could have done that to me because I have no problem with anyone.
Tell us a little bit about what it was like when you were taken. Like, I know you were driving. I remember the kidnappers talking about what a good driver you were. So tell us a little bit about, the moment it happened, what you saw, when you noticed.
I saw the car since I was going now from my work, which is on the airport road, 15 minutes from where I was kidnapped. Yeah. I wasn't bothered because it's the main road. It's when there was a bump and then everybody has to slow down in the bump and the car just ran and came in front of me. I immediately knew it was a kidnapping. So I did that, how do you say it, Jeff, when you go back?
Yeah, you reverse. Yeah, shift into reverse.
And then another car came into my car and then bumped me. So I was like...
pinched in, trapped.
Exactly. And then 4 young men, I don't think they're even 22, came out of the car with the rifles, and the other car, 4 men. And then they circled the car. I couldn't do anything. So I had to surrender.
Yeah.
So they took me out of the car, kept remember I had 4 people with me. So they stayed in the car. They put me in the first car that blocked me, and they came and drove my car. And then I went, and then they drove me to Gravin. They were like, "Oh, we've been following you for a long time. Do you want to join us? You're such a good driver."
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a little bit, oh, okay. Okay, it's not, let me see if I can talk. So I've been talking to them, trying to, I said, my father-in-law died 3 days. No, he died maybe 5 days, 3 or 5 days. I don't remember anything.
Right,
With
I
the
remember
trauma,
that.
I don't
No,
remember the days and then,
yeah.
but my father-in-law, we were caught on a Wednesday. My father-in-law died on the Thursday before. So I'm like, my father-in-law died. Oh my God, I cannot get kidnapped because I have to go to the funeral. It's not possible. But they didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care at all. We drove maybe for an hour and a half, which was like for me, like a day.
Yeah.
And then I came in. And then when I got in, when I arrived, they started shooting.
Yeah.
It was like a party. Like, yeah, a party. Stephanie's here.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be relaxed.
No, I remember that. And those listeners who listened to day one, I remember they were shooting like nuts when you came in.
So when I came into the room, I look at my surroundings. For the few seconds, I didn't see anyone. I was like, where am I? And then I saw you and 3 other people.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that you guys were kidnapped also. After a few seconds, when you guys welcomed me, well, you were still in shock because you were here 3 hours before me.
Yeah.
And then try to like calm me down.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I saw you, I'm like, what is that dude doing here? He's like 6 foot big like that. What is he doing here?
Yeah.
And we didn't speak the same day, the first day. We were too in shock, I think. We really spoke the second day.
Yeah, you spoke mostly to the Toussaints. But I mean, we all did because we didn't have any information for each other. The only person with anything interesting to say were the long timers.
Yeah. So I remember also the chef came. Yeah. And then he introduced himself as the chef, etc., and explained the situation and how it was gonna be. Yeah. And then he left. And
did he make a ransom demand to you that first day?
No.
Or did he just say, "Give me your family or interpreter or whatever"?
No.
Or not interpreter.
He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. But my phone was ringing all the time.
I'm sure.
And then people was calling because at this time I'm supposed to be home.
Yeah.
And in Haiti, every time you go out, you call. Every time you arrive somewhere, you call. Yeah. I didn't call. I didn't call my husband. I didn't call my mom. And then they started calling, and nobody was answering. But they insisted, and then the chef Jeff answered and said she's kidnapped, and hung up. Mm. So they called my cousin, and told my cousin because my cousin is a negotiator too.
Oh, that's right.
So they called my cousin, and my cousin called, and then I take steps, and I was in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I think I was I don't remember what I was doing. And then my cousin called, and then I think Chef Jeff told him something, and he answered back, but he was rude. Yeah. So they came back, and then they were looking for me, but I was in the bathroom. He was gonna give me I don't know.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, we were grateful that you were gone.
I was in the bathroom, yes. So I got lucky that day. I didn't get a beating the day one.
Okay. What other parts of the experience do you want to talk about that you're comfortable with talking about?
It's a life-changing experience. I appreciate life more than ever. My faith went up the roof. I do believe in God. You can see that. I didn't really practice, but I know I'm very faithful. Faithful? Is it a word? I'm sorry. My English is not so well. I speak mostly French, so pardon
Your
me.
English is great.
I never thought I was gonna get kidnapped. The day before I got kidnapped, I didn't do my prayer. I usually ask God, I said, God, protect me, please cover me from your blanket. Remember I was telling you that?
Mm.
So I didn't do my prayer. And that morning, my husband Alain told me not to go to work because we had someone we knew that got kidnapped in the morning, and we heard about it. And then Alain was like, Stephanie, don't go to work. It's not worth it. What you're getting paid is not gonna pay a ransom if you get kidnapped. I'm like, Alain, come on, please. What can happen? Nothing is gonna happen to me. I felt guilty mostly when I got kidnapped. I don't know if you remember, everybody who was going out, I told them to tell Alain, I'm sorry. I did my best. I tried to escape. I'm sorry. It was very hard on him. I think it was harder on him than me, in most of people, because he's a very sensitive person. And I felt so bad that I listened to him because I thought he wanted me to stay around. And well, they say if you knew, right?
You know that it's not your fault, though, right? You know now. I understand you were having a lot of those mixed emotions then, but you know now that's not your fault.
I know.
It's only the kidnapper's fault.
I know.
Okay, good.
I do know it's not my fault. But it took me a while. I felt bad for my family, for my mother, because I'm the only child of my mother. So I knew my mom was suffering. I knew my husband was suffering. Well, my dad passed a year ago, so I felt guilty.
That's something I feel like people don't understand is that probably the hardest part about being in captivity is knowing that your loved ones on the outside are
Yes.
hurting for you.
I think it happened to you too. It's the worst thing.
Oh,
it's not even you because you know what you're going through. It's what those people are going through. My girls,
yeah.
And I couldn't speak to them. Yeah.
Tell me about, is there anything else that you want to, I don't want to get in your way. I'm going to start asking you questions, but
yeah, you can ask me because, it's hard for me to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't have as a good memory as you. I remember the big parts. What do I remember that caught my attention? A lot of things, actually. I tried to remember the good parts. I remember I was so scared, but I didn't want to show it because I was acting tough. I didn't want to think that they think that, oh, I'm vulnerable. And then they took advantage. I remember trying to be friends with them, be the most friendly, kissing their hands, hugging them, kissing them all the time so I could get food and water to bathe, water to drink. I think it was the most terrifying thing, not knowing what was going to happen. The Saturday was the reality check. Remember, I was telling you that the day after, well, I can do that. And then Saturday came and the torture call started for me. And then that, I think, is the day we bonded. That day we bonded when you did the blessing for me. They were tasing me. For me, it was like hours. I don't know if it was, but for me, it was like hours. And I was trying to stay tough because I didn't want to cry. I didn't want him to have that satisfaction, like, yeah, I'm torturing. So every time I was like answering, trying like to stay firm, answering, I don't have any money. You're mistaking. No, I'm the only child. I don't have the money. But they weren't hearing it because I was pointed out. I was pointed out as a rich person because I don't know. Because I don't even know why. And then I think he felt guilty after, remember? And then when he untied me so I could, when he brought the food,
Mm-hmm.
and then he untied me, and then he told me, I don't know, maybe you didn't understand. He said, don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you. You can eat. You're fine. So I started eating. I couldn't eat because I was like,
Yeah,
I
I
was
remember that.
trembling. I was
I remember.
shaking. And then he was the one now, like, trying to calm me
Calm
down.
you. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then, what's his name you use in the podcast, went and then said,
Yeah, Curvins. We
Chef,
call them
I
Curvins.
told them.
Mm.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He was kidnapped. He was held like us. And he was taking the chef's side. And I was so mad and so disappointed because we're in the same situation. I'm being tortured, and then you're trying to, oh chef, I told them, I told them how it works here, gave them how what was the rules. I wanted to strangle him. I was like, oh, I hate you. And then he didn't even understand what he was saying. I think you had to explain, because me, I cannot, I don't know. I was so, I don't know if it's a
Well,
bad
that
word.
was that was the first glimpse we had into Stockholm syndrome, right? The fact that he had been there, I think, 22 days at that point, and clearly his mind was already messed up. I think that was actually really helpful for me, being able to see into the future and understanding that was a legitimate issue that we would have to protect ourselves from. Do you want to talk about escape stuff?
Well, since day one, I couldn't sleep. Remember, I had problems sleeping. I didn't sleep that much. I was always looking to see, how am I gonna escape? And you were not on board at all the first days. And remember when it was raining, I said, oh, that was the day we were supposed to escape, because people, Haitian, are scared of rain. We don't go out when it's raining. I don't, it's weird, but it is what it is. Even
Yep.
me, if it's raining, I'm not going to go out.
Yeah.
That day, it was the day that they stole your $10,000.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, and I think it's very selfish of me, but when they were negotiating, I'm so embarrassed to say it, when they were negotiating for you, and then they said, okay, I was like so sad. I know. I was happy for you, but
I understand.
So sad. I was like, how am I gonna do it without Jeff? Oh my God. But I was really sad when it didn't happen, because I remember they said, put your shoes, go get dressed, put your shoes. And then you were ready an hour and 2 hours. And then after they came, it was a shock for everyone. And then they said the money wasn't enough. Yeah. So we were like, okay, plan B, because it was day 28 to day 28. Yeah, it was day 28. And then the escape plan, I couldn't even explain how you did it, because when they asked me, who helped you? I said, we did it ourselves. I said, how? I couldn't even explain. I'm like, wow.
Really?
I'm like, this is like the most. I couldn't. I was like, it's like Indiana Jones.
You were actually never really watching when I was doing stuff, because I was behind that curtain.
I was in the door.
Yeah.
I was in the door looking at those people. Yeah. They were music. They were having fun, because $10,000.
Tell me what it was like for you after I went out the window. And
oh my God, it was a reality check. Remember, I was like so hyped. We're gonna escape. And yes, we have to escape. And then when it came, like, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Yeah. When you went out, And then you pulled me out. I was shaking like a feather. I was like stressed. I didn't know. I was like, I wanted to go back in, to be honest with you. I was okay. But I'm like, okay, we're out. There was no way we could get in. It was like, let's go out. So we went out. My first shock is when we opened the gate. We were in the middle of the slump. I'm like, oh my God. The mountain that was in front of us were like
so far.
10,000 miles away.
Yeah.
And then it was brighter than now in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? It was so bright. And with the disguise, that was,
yeah.
It was really, we wanted to go out. We wanted to escape,
Yeah.
And the first people we saw, I was like, oh, we're dead.
Mm-hmm.
We are dead. Well, thank God they didn't really pay attention. I think they knew, but they didn't pay. They weren't soldiers, so they didn't pay attention.
They knew because they kept talking their conversation continued as they passed us. They didn't even hesitate.
Jeff, come on! It was 2 a.m. Like you're like 6 foot. How tall?
But I'm an incredible actor, Steph.
Oh, come on. Oh, please.
I was slumped over and that limp.
You have something in your face, mask. Come on. They knew. They just didn't pay attention. I remember when they came, and how do you say it? I went down like I was gonna pee.
Squat.
I pretended.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And then I was like, okay. When they passed, I'm like, okay, we have a chance.
Yeah.
And then we continued. Like 5 minutes after, we found those boys. They were boys. They were not even 20.
Yeah.
With the rifles, they were the soldiers doing the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then you explain in your podcast, because I listened to it, what happened, that we were like, we have money. I started talking to them like, we have money. And then they wanted to know where we came from. But I didn't want them to know that we came from here, like 2 minutes from where you are, Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. They've been asking, did you come from Tibois? Tibois is another place. Yeah. I think they have a rivalry. They don't get along. I said, I don't know where we come from. We just left because they were torturing us. And then I was trying to make them feel to be sensitive, but those people are not sensitive at all.
Right.
So, and then I started talking. You said you're American. So I think it helped because they're afraid of Americans. And I started to talk about the money. We have money. We can give you all the money. And he's like, where's the money? Where's the money? I said, well, give me a phone. I'm going to call for the money. And then they drove us. No, they not drove us. We walked inside of the slump.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said he was going to take a phone. And then he left us with a teenage, a 17-year-old. It was jet black in the room. It's like is it bigger than a guest bathroom? Like, no, it was very small.
Very small, yeah.
It was like,
I remember we were sitting on folding chairs or stacking chairs, like you might have in a church.
Yeah, stacking chairs. They had a carpet.
Yeah.
When they put carpet, it's like a boys' room. Yeah. They call it boys' room. It's like where they go to meet girls, bring girls and everything. And it was really dark. And then you didn't mention that, but it's okay, I will. And we couldn't see anything. And then the guy and the boy told me, come. But we couldn't see him. Remember, we couldn't see anything inside. So I went and I'm like talking to him. I thought that he wanted to talk to me, and I was talking to him. And I'm like, yes. And then he started to put his hands on my legs. And then he was like caressing my legs. And I told you that but they don't speak English. And I told you, Jeff, he's touching me. And then you said, come to me. And I take you, I don't know if I came or you, I don't know.
I said,
but I
grab
went
my
back.
hand. I said, grab my hand.
I said, grab your hand. And then you pulled me back. And then.
Yeah. I put you on the other side of me. I put you on the other side of me.
I'm sorry, you're.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
I grabbed your hand and I put you on the other side of me. So
you pulled me on the other side.
Yeah.
And then everything stopped. And he kind of, after that, being very nice, he said, don't worry, you're fine. Don't worry, we're not going to do anything to you guys, etc. And then the boy came with the phone, made my phone call. Nobody answered. And I called the only number I remember, which is my boss number. And I called him, and then he called Alain. And I got the number from the negotiator who had the money. And I called the negotiator and explained. And he said, well, call me in a half an hour because I have to call the person because the money is not there to tell you. I'm like, okay, all right, perfect. So we're like, wow, we're going to get released that day, you know? And then he left. And I told him that I need the phone in half an hour so we can know where to meet for the money. And he said, okay. And he never came back. He never came back. When he came back, it was almost daytime. And now I remember telling him, we have to go. We have to go. Because if it's daytime, we won't be able to go. We won't be able to leave. He said, don't worry, don't worry. And then he came with someone else. And I'm like, that's not good. And I tried to play it. I'm like, the more people you tell is the less money you're going to have because you have to share the money. So stop telling everybody that we're here and then you're going to get money. But it was the plan. He already went to the chef and told the chef about, well, one of the chefs, not the chef we knew, I don't know. So it was him. And when I explained, he didn't believe me. I wasn't that convincing either because I couldn't explain how you did it. Okay? And then he still said he was going to release us, but if he goes at this time, it's going to be suspicious because this car doesn't go out.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we pass in front of our...
When Stephanie says go out, she's referring to goes out of the gang-controlled area. So some cars, if they've been stolen through other kidnappings, they know that they can only stay in their hometown, their home base, right, where there's no police. So they can't go out of those areas into areas where there are police, because then that vehicle will set off alarms and get them arrested. So that's what she means by this car can go out.
Yeah. So we passed by the house. I was relieved that I was not bring up back there. So we went, and we went somewhere, and then they left us in the car to 11 a.m. or noon.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then they receive a call saying that Chef Jeff wants us back.
That's right. They used it. I remember we heard that name.
Yeah, you were talking on the phone. He was talking that, Chef Jeff wants them back. He
That's
talked
right.
out loud. But
tell me about what it was like for you once they started driving us up the hill.
Oh, I thought I was going to die because they warned us. They warned us that, and we knew what happened to the guy before us who they tied for the whole day the same way they tied me with my hands and my knees together on my stomach. And I remember, I don't know if it was an hour I stayed like that. I thought I was going to lose my knees. You guys were the one like balancing me. So I could, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. So when we got there, the Fatra were, obviously you could see they were not happy.
Yeah.
They could have been killed too. Because they're supposed to be the guards. So they could have been punished too. So when we got back, I saw the face. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's either we're going to get a whooping or we're going to die.
Yeah.
They tied us the same way that I described earlier. And they started to beat you with everything they found. The cable. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
I remember they put the cable in between your fingers and you were yelling. You were yelling. I said I wasn't going to do that. It was so hard. They tased you. I remember you were the first one. You got tortured a lot. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I think they did like 15 minutes. Did it. I couldn't see. I saw the cable. I saw the taser. And I saw that they were all over you. It's like, I don't know how many there are. They were like, how many? 5, 10, 15 all over you. And then it was my turn. I don't know what happened. And then Rasta said, no, do not touch her. I was spared that moment. I wouldn't survive. I wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have survived that day if they did that to me. We were, and the others, I know they couldn't say anything. I know. But I was like, why don't you say something? But I understand. I understand. Even me, I didn't say anything. I'm so sorry. I should have said something.
There's nothing you could say. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you can do. They have all the power in those situations.
So the day passed, we're punished. We don't have food. We don't have anything to drink. Remember that we left everything in the other room. So we spend the day like that. And nighttime comes and then Chef Sanson comes. But I forgot to explain. I didn't say the past things where Chef Sanson was tasing me all the time.
Yeah.
So like, I'm scared of Chef Sanson because Chef Sanson is torturing me before I escape.
Yeah.
So when I see he comes with a gun.
This is Bad Cop or
Bad Cop, yeah.
Or Chef 2, whoever. Yeah.
So he comes with the gun, remember? He comes to me.
I remember.
And then he takes his gun. Did he point it in my head, the gun? I don't remember, but I remember he hit me with the gun here first, and then he hit me 2-3 times with the gun, and on my knee, exactly on my knee. And then you said stop. You said it was my idea. She's not at fault. And then he came to you and pointed the gun on you, on your head. And then he started and then he pointed in your feet, like he was gonna shot you. And then everybody's like, no, no, no. That was the first time everybody was, because everybody's scared. Nobody talks and everything. And then we were like united this time. There was the only time everybody was like, no, 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 no. And then he didn't do anything. Amen. But it was scary. And then he told us to undress. Even me. I remember like when we were escaping, we were supposed to go to the mountains, and then it was gonna be cold. So I put two. I had 2 shirts. I had the boxer that I think the Toussaint left. And then, so when I took off my clothes, the first, I had the second one. So I was on boxers and I had the shirt. And he told you to take all your clothes off except your boxer. And he told you to lay down on your stomach and never turn. And he said, if you turn, he's going to kill you. So I remember you stayed like for hours like that, not being able to turn or to sit down or to do anything. I lost so much weight. I think I lost 24, 26 pounds.
You didn't
diet. Yeah. Well, yeah. Even when I diet, I can't lose all that. I lost. So I was so bony. When I laid down, my bones were hitting the floor. Yeah. Those bony. So I couldn't sleep anymore. Like on my stomach, I couldn't because of I couldn't sleep on my back either because I had too much bones. They were bony. And then we were sleeping on the floor. I have to tell you, I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry. Okay. Because I was thinking about how hard was it the last days, the last week. Oh, did I don't know if I mentioned today marks a year since I've been released.
Today's your day?
Yeah, today's my day.
Awesome. Happy Freedom Day.
I was physically freed, but not mentally.
Awesome. So tell me what it was like after you left the compound. So you walk out, I give you a hug, I say goodbye.
Remember the guy who came in the cars looking at us and then said, isn't it you the one who had the heart problem? He's the one who drove me down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they were telling him, you have to put a mask. You have to put a mask. He said, well, she saw my face already. So I guess he's a big chef too. He's a chef because putting the mask is not a... And I remember going out and then he said like, get down off the car. Someone is going to pick you up. Moto. I'm like, oh, okay. But the motorcycle was already there with someone. So I he opened the door for me, said, let's go. I didn't recognize the person. Yeah. It was like 1 minute drive. And then I went to the motorcycle, which was like less than 1 minute. And then I see a black car that I don't know either. I don't know anyone. And then they got me in the car. I thought I was being bought by another gang.
Yeah.
And then they went and do the airport road. I'm like, oh my God. Usually you have your people getting you out.
Yeah.
They were like driving me there. And then I saw an employee because I work in the airport road, and I saw an employee. And then I asked, can I tell him, can I put down my window because the window are jet black, tinted, to tell them that I'm released? They said yes. So me, when I did that, it's because I wanted them to know that I've been placed somewhere else.
Yeah, I've been moved. Yeah.
I have been moved. I said, yeah, I got released. Exactly what I thought he was going to do, he did. He called the office and then told them that he saw me, I got released. And then I'm passing by the office, but I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, this is my office. And then they stopped the car and said, oh, is it where you're going? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's the...
Yeah.
And then they make a phone call, and then they said, bring her there. And then that's where I was dropped. And I learned how I got out, because they paid 4 times for me. They never let me out. And so my boss made a call to someone who knows the gang.
Mm.
And then they released me. They released me, and then the guy paid at my job that knew I was out.
Wow. It was on social media, so that
It
photo
was
of
on
you
social
in the
media.
office, yeah, some of your friends had shared it.
Yeah,
Crazy.
on social media. I was out before even my mom, they don't even know. So they sent her a picture before, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So now I'm out. I don't need to tell you, I eat all the house.
It's good. You ate and ate and ate. That's good.
Oh my God, I ate for I was so hungry. I was
Yes.
so hungry.
Yes.
Rice.
What was your first meal?
Rice.
Rice?
Was...
That's all you came up with as your first
No,
meal?
the thing is, I came, and then my friend thought it was like the best idea to come with Chinese rice. I was like, really?
This is
It's
the one
no.
thing I've been eating.
It's the only thing I've been eating, but I ate it
Yeah.
with appetite.
Oh, good. That's
Oh
good.
my God.
That's
And then
good.
I think I called Mary that day. Well, I received a call. It was from someone from the embassy telling me that FBI was going to call me. So it was true. I never received a call, or maybe, I wasn't answering calls. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the first thing I did, well, not the first thing, I have to be honest. There was already people waiting for me. Maybe maybe 3 hours. I'm sorry, Jeff, but it took me maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then I called Billy, and I called Mary, and then I called everyone to tell them I was out, to tell them, to update them,
Yeah.
about you.
You're too kind. The fact that you were even concerned about me at all after you got out is amazing.
I always tell everyone, I got physically released on May 16th. It was today, but I really got released the day you got out, which was May 23rd?
24th.
24th?
Yeah.
May 23rd was Daisy's graduation.
Yes.
It was Daisy's graduation.
That
I
you
made
were
it. I made the graduation.
You did make it. And we knew you would.
Manifest. I manifested it. I said, I have to be in the graduation. Well, that was the first mistake I made, because I think they played on it to keep me more. So I was released on May 16th, and I traveled on May 20th, and I've been here since then.
Good. Don't go back. When she says here, she's referring to the U.S. She's in the U.S. now, safely. Yeah. I'm grateful for that. Well, Stephanie, I tell you what, it's been a great conversation. Thank you for being willing to share. And I know that's a sacrifice to share this kind of stuff publicly. I know that you share my sentiment that we're hoping to do some good to raise awareness about Haiti and the atrocities that are happening there. There are some minor good steps happening in Haiti, and we're hopeful that things are going to improve. But
Amen.
We're grateful for all those who are paying attention to Haiti, whether through this podcast or through other means. And hopefully our story can raise some awareness about so many people who are being kidnapped regularly and then being held captive in many other ways through these horrific gangs in Haiti. But thank you, Steph. Yeah, go ahead.
Even though our story was very hard, but we were lucky, because after our release, it got worse. People are tortured. they're burnt, they're raped, they are kept longer than us. So we can say we were, it's unbelievable, but we were lucky.
Yeah. We were one of the lucky ones that
we
got
were
out.
blessed.
Yeah.
God was with us.
Amen. Amen. Well, thanks, Steph. Anything else you want to say before we close?
I want to thank again everyone who prayed for us. Without your prayers, we wouldn't be here.
Amen.
God is good.
God is good. All right. Thanks, Steph. So grateful for your time. And maybe we'll have you on again later, but you've been a wonderful second voice. I'm sure people are sick of hearing from me. But very much grateful for the time you've taken with us today. And give lots of hugs and kisses to your children for me.
Thank you. You do the same.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Stimac Podcast and will subscribe, rate, review, and share it with your friends and colleagues. Thank you for listening. This podcast has been brought to you by Stimac Inc., copyright 2024. All rights reserved.